We're so excited that you ordered your copy of Equanimity, Conquering Mount Entrepreneur. For the next few moments, I want to walk you through the introduction of the book in preparation for making 3 critical decisions and then learning about the 3 mile markers on the way up to the summit of Mount Entrepreneur. We start with the preface, where we define equanimity, peace of mind. Now, let's go to Og Mandino's scroll. Scroll number 9. I will act now. He says that I hunger for success. I thirst for happiness and peace of mind. I thirst for this peace of mind and equanimity. Lest I act, I will perish in a life of failure, misery, and sleepless nights. Oh, here's the secret. I will command, and I will obey my own command. I will act now. It's practicing metacognition, the uniquely human gift to step back, reflect on our own thinking, and choose. We have the choice to think differently. And when we do, when we override an unhealthy habit of thinking and we choose to do differently, there's a sense of accomplishment. That's equanimity. It's the antithesis. It's just the opposite of fear and trepidation. Equanimity, peace of mind. That's what we would want all of us to experience as we climb this mountain. Now let's turn to the introduction. And you might want to take a moment and read the wonderful preface from famous Dave Anderson, the prologue from Stephen Morris from Exit Realty, 2 wonderful human beings and dear friends, both members of the Og Mandino Hall of Fame. Then we get to the parking lot. I'm going to borrow my glasses. Everything that's written in this section has a meaning and a purpose. It's symbolic of your experience as an entrepreneur. You're going to be driving your metaphorical car into the parking lot at the foot of Mount Entrepreneur. I want to point out some important subtleties. Number 1, it's a little taller than expected. We're facing the reality of this task before us. It's a little taller than expected. The parking lot is jammed with cars. A lot of people have come to the parking lot. 3, we encounter 2 people in Hawaiian shirts and flip-flops and shorts dragging a suitcase to climb Mount Entrepreneur. We check the weather report. There's going to be thunderstorms and freezing temperatures tonight. Oh, are they in for an experience? And we meet these 2 people later on. We have a wonderful, tender experience with them. But right now, oblivious to what they're about to face. How many people come to the parking lot oblivious? Next, a car is pulling out of the parking lot, passes us. We try to make eye contact. They ignore us. They are just done. They're leaving. There's a car parked next to us, and we see a badly injured person coming, a person helping them to climb into the car. How many people get hurt? Because we notice that a copy of the book is sitting on the front seat like ours, and ours is unread. Apparently theirs was unread as well. They were terribly unprepared for what they faced as they began to climb the mountain. I mentioned our copy of the book sitting, and we're at choice. Do we read as instructed? Do we make the 3 critical decisions before we start the path, or we just jump on the path and see what happens? We notice some of the cars. One has roots growing through the rims. Been there for a while. Another one is very dirty, as if it's been sitting in a junkyard. It's just been there forever. Another one has tires missing and is resting on cinder blocks. Another one has a person with their hands glued to the steering wheel. We find out a lot about those people later on. Hands glued to the steering wheel, stuck, staring at the mountain. Now, you'll hear about dream boards and where they fit in just a moment, but it's like they're staring at their dream board, imagining if they stare at it long enough, they'll be on the top of the mountain. Imagine. Another one has a large pizza being delivered. It's not the only pizza box. We go to another one. The bizarre scene is different than expected and leaves us with a visceral feeling that all is not well. We can expect to have a little bit of that feeling as we begin this process. Sitting alone in the car, which is parked less than 100 feet from the trailhead, we feel our enthusiasm, excitement, and confidence beginning to wane. Now we're going to talk about what happens as our excitement begins to build, but it's okay to go, whoa, what have we got ourselves into? Just one of those moments expected as an entrepreneur. Here's another one. We haven't even opened the door. Considering what we have already encountered, we decide it might be wise to at least peruse a few of the pages. So let the fear, a little bit of that anxiety in the beginning, drive us into reading what's going to be required to conquer this mountain. And we get into section 1. Welcome to the parking lot. Now, we talk about in this opening section that we're going to go through basically 3 sections. We're going to be in the parking lot learning. We're going to begin our climb. Then we're going to go through the summit. We're going to meet the 3 mile markers. We're going to learn from mentors. And then we get into this moment when we can feel this spark of excitement starting to come back as we continue reading. And we hear this phrase, because this is really the foundational principle. After going through this journey, it says, having acquired, this is after we've gone through the journey, ever-increasing levels of ability to handle ever-increasing levels of difficulty, with ever-increasing levels of confidence and ease, we set our sights on the summit. So we go through this process. We're now ready to summit because we've acquired new abilities to handle these new responsibilities with greater confidence and ease. If we had started at what's at the very summit, we'd have been frozen in our tracks, scared to death. We wouldn't have been able to move, been paralyzed. But we've been through enough experiences to that point that we have greater confidence to be able to tackle the very end of the journey. Now, we go from here, and this excitement, I love this paragraph. Faced with a Herculean task, similar to the one referenced by Og when he talks about the apples in the Garden of Hesperides are more than my just due, speaking of Hercules, and more than aware that Hercules was a mythical character, we nevertheless feel a heightened level of confidence rising from a place in our being we have rarely dared to visit. This feeling reignites our commitment to press forward. So we begin to see the journey and the possibility of the end. This is a visualization of the journey. That's what we walked you through. That's why we're going to do it. Then comes the refiner's fire. I remember the morning when this was written. The decision to become an entrepreneur is one of the most courageous and rewarding life journeys a person can take. Those who have chosen this way of living confirm the journey tests a person's mettle, revealing both the dross and the gold. Those who choose this refiner's fire, the rare ones, which we all want to become one of those rare ones, become the builders of people and the creators of dreams, the true alchemists of our time. Our goal is to become one of the rare ones. Now, we all come here for a variety of reasons, individual reasons. Some want to be nurse practitioners, doctors, accountants, attorneys. Some are selling real estate, securities, insurance. Some want to start a home-based business or a retail store. We all have reasons for being here. Educational requirements vary. The easier and less expensive the requirement to engage, the more important it is to make these 3 decisions and master these 3 mile markers. So the lower the barrier to entry, the more important it is for us to pay attention to these details. Now, we turn to page 10, the baseball bat of life. Ramona wanted me to change this The baseball bat of life taking swings. It's really an awful thought, but isn't it true? That sometimes we walk through life and the baseball bat of life just takes the swings, as we're all at times beat up by the baseball bat of life and left wanting it to be easier and less stressful. Don't we sometimes want it to be easier and less stressful? Yeah. We may be tempted, or sadly even persuaded, to view this journey as an easy path to a winning lottery ticket. A less stressful life with lots of time and financial freedom. We may be tempted to use our entrepreneurial gifts of visualization to engage our mind in vivid imagination and fantasy, all in an effort to escape and avoid our current reality. I'm going to spend a little time talking about this visualization being used destructively. We call it the millionaire magic doctrine of manifestation. It's the belief that vivid visualization manifests tangible reality. This is such a critical piece. Vivid visualization is critical to creation. But we'll want to understand how to use it so it serves us, instead of having us go to fantasy, which is to a point when something has already occurred, then imagine what it'll be like after. Because as an entrepreneur, your thought processes will drive you into a horrific physiological state by engaging in fantasy. We want to avoid this. That this doctrine focuses on having, getting, receiving, and arriving, not on the real journey, which focuses on stretching and growing, becoming and creating. At the core of this doctrine is a belief that if we visualize with enough intention, our dreams will be magically manifest without needing to do the work of climbing Mount Entrepreneur. Sadly, those who succumb to this doctrine end up disillusioned and even angry. They want linear time to speed up and everyone to show up at that speed. They demand the universe somehow magically manifest their dreams. After all, they ask and visualize with real intention. Sadly, and far too often, this was the instruction. Left sitting in the car in the parking lot, circumstances unchanged, fantasy not manifest. Remember hanging on the steering wheel? They pound on the steering wheel in frustration. Faced with the inevitability of needing to get out of their car and climb the mountain, do the work of creation in order to realize their dreams, they find the very thought boring, mundane, repetitive, burdensome, and hard, requiring motivation that is not present, an effort that is unsustainable. Just ponder for a moment. In the book, you'll have an opportunity to do that. How often have you used this wonderful gift of visualization to go into the future and then imagine what it's going to be like after something was created, only to be disappointed? Entrepreneurs do this differently, and it's the first and distinct difference between an entrepreneur and a fantasizer. Entrepreneurs do not want to escape and avoid. They want to engage in life, embrace principles, connect and serve, create value, and contribute to the world. They want to leave a footprint on this planet. They know that visualization, this is what it's used for. We go in the future to see clearly because it manifests inspired ideas, intuitive impressions, and creative solutions that ignite passion. In this sentence, you want to underline it. It's on page 12, right in the middle of the page. Passion is the gift we are given to sustain the work of creation. Climbing, stretching, and growing, becoming, and creating. Passion-driven, entrepreneurs climb without counting the cost or tracking the time. Now, lest anyone misunderstand, interestingly, an entrepreneur most likely has a dream board tucked away in their backpack. But instead of it being a fantasy facilitator, it is utilized as a clear target. This is where they're headed. It stands as a constant reminder of where they're headed and why they're willing to pay the price to take the next step and create the next millimeter. They also have affirmations. But instead of being banal platitudes focused on wishing and wanting and receiving or getting, they're focused on being, becoming, taking action, and creating. This helps set an entrepreneur apart. Bottom line, visualization is a tool, this is on page 13, which entrepreneurs manifest vision and clarity, which in turn ignites passion. It is not used to facilitate fantasy. When they get that inspired idea, if their desire is to engage, embrace, connect, serve, create value, and contribute, if that's your secret desire, your real intention, you get inspired ideas, part of your brain ignites. It's normally dormant in a human being. Ignites our passion, drives our action. That's why creation lights up the soul of an entrepreneur. Very literally. Second thing that sets apart an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs want the freedom to create. So many fantasizers are focused on the destination. Entrepreneurs love the very process of the climb. They love the process of actually creating. So they also learn, and often the hard way, that structure does not have to be viewed as confining and restrictive. When it supports the creation of our dreams, it becomes instead a beautiful invitation to freedom, ultimate freedom. Imagine that. Entrepreneurs naturally resist structure. 97% of them do. However, when it is a support mechanism to their very dreams, then they willingly embrace it. It's the invitation to freedom, to ultimate freedom. Now, there's an entire section. Mile marker 3 is all about structure. Mile marker 2 before that is all about creating that dream that's worthy of embracing that structure. That's why we want to go through those mile markers. Number 3, entrepreneurs find hierarchical environments, that's bosses, those environments, hierarchical environments and controlling relationships, restrictive and suffocating, impediments to their potential and roadblocks to the creation of their dreams. Therefore, when selecting mentors, they value competency and contribution versus a person's rank, title, or credentials. So if you felt a little rebellious against authority, that's entrepreneurial. You don't give away your power. You don't necessarily respect a title. You value competency and contribution. Number 4, entrepreneurs are constantly thinking about new and better ways to do everything. That's a creative gift. However, they often get attached to their ideas, and when they do, they need to be right. And they run the risk of crushing people's self-esteem. So entrepreneurs will want to learn how to manage that need to be right. Number 5, entrepreneurs burn through fear and doubt like it is fuel for the soul. I love it when it says that not knowing how to do something's an invitation to learn. They look at those challenges and just burn through them. They see each opportunity to become stronger and more capable so they can climb higher. Make a note here. We're starting to feel a little bit of excitement. 6. When asked to address and serve their very best clients and customers, entrepreneurs show up on their very best behavior. This is a real key. Some people have viewed showing up that way as an act. It's actually shutting off the noise in our head and bringing our very best self to that moment. They want to be conscious and aware more often and for longer periods of time. That's part of the decision, is hiring myself, improving myself. They want to know what thought processes would rob them from being their very best self and showing up that way so they can make those changes because they love being in that space. Entrepreneurs want to bring the best version of their self to each and every moment. And most importantly, home to those they love the most. Because isn't it true? We spend all day fighting those unhealthy habits of thinking. We come home, and those we love often get the worst version of us. As entrepreneurs, we want to become a better person so that we can be that person everywhere we go. Number 7, pivotal moments of decision and improvement. Entrepreneurs are like sponges. They read from the best books to expand horizons, think without limitations, and courageously act without hesitation. I mentioned this, not knowing what to do is just simply an invitation to figure it out. I love this line. Entrepreneurs understand that self-improvement has more to do with the application of knowledge than the accumulation of knowledge. When they read books, engage in coaching, attend trainings, webinars, or seminars, they understand it is for the purpose of preparing for private, pivotal moments along the path in which they consciously choose to maximize natural strengths and change unhealthy habits of thinking. I will command and I will obey my own command. That's when we experience equanimity. That's when self-improvement occurs. It doesn't happen in the seminar. It doesn't happen when I'm reading this book. It happens when my awareness is raised, and in that pivotal moment, I choose differently. That's self-improvement. James Allen writes, "And a man thinketh, let a man radically alter his thoughts and be astonished at the rapid transformation it will affect in the material conditions of his life." I would underline that. It's right toward the end of page 18. I love that quote. You want to change the material conditions of your life? Radically alter your thoughts, your habits of thinking. And number 8, the last one. Entrepreneurs know the dark night. Moments of doubt, confusion, fear, inadequacy, and near total exhaustion. In these moments, they are uncertain if they have the strength to take another step, slay another dragon, or overcome another setback or disappointment. Somehow. And from a place deep in their souls, a place every successful entrepreneur knows intimately, they find a modicum of hope, an inspired idea, a little reminder of where they are headed and why their dream is so important. With this comes a purging of their doubt and a reigniting of their passion. These are the defining moments of every successful entrepreneur. Each will tell us, quote, "The remarkable decisions made while in these caverns of catharsis refined my vision, reignited my passion, and elevated the trajectory of my success," end quote. We want to become one of the rare ones, one who embraced these 8 characteristics of an entrepreneur. These are the few of the reasons why an entrepreneur can awaken each day unemployed, ready to take on any challenge or fear. The house they live in, the car they drive, the clothes they wear, the food they eat, the opportunities available are all dependent on clear vision, deliberate daily actions, and the results intentionally created. And they're always seeking to improve this sequence by jettisoning unhealthy habits that impede creation. Summary. Entrepreneurs have a clear vision of where they are going, work passion-driven, live in the now, slay dragons, encounter obstacles, make mistakes, reevaluate, learn from their experiences, make adjustments, and intentionally create. They take the next step and then they do it all over again. They love the process of creation. It's not for everyone. It's a way of life. That's what famous Dave would say. This is a way of being. It's an exciting way to live. Here we stretch and we grow and we become all we're meant to be. And the reward is we get to experience that thing that we hunger for, we thirst for, that peace of mind, that equanimity. You're going to be making these 3 decisions. And then this happens. Some realize they're better suited for structure and a predictable compensation model of traditional employment. Return to the workplace. However, they've learned to be totally accountable, self-directed, creative. They're really powerful entrepreneurial employees. They're intrapreneurs. 2, others simply shocked by raw reality, exit the path leave behind their dreams for a better life. They need less stress, less pressure. They willingly settle for mediocrity. That can happen. And 3, others never leave the car in the parking lot or quickly return after a short jaunt. They end up hanging out in the parking lot a bit too long, pretending to be entrepreneurs, carelessly borrowing and spending money they can never pay back. You don't want to be one of those. Entrepreneurs, the rare ones, discover real joy comes from learning and patiently applying the laws that govern the creation of worthy dreams and taking the steps along the path. Invitation. Become an entrepreneur. In the next video, Paul is going to walk you through the first critical decision. Listen carefully. Make the decision. You won't master the decision. You'll make the decision. Then the second, then the third. And I'm going to come back. And we're going to start our journey up the path. We're going to discover mile marker 1, and then mile marker 2, and then mile marker 3. So excited to be on this journey with you. Become a rare one. Embrace the principles that govern being a successful entrepreneur.